Welcome to this special episode of Technologized, which today will be looking at growth in broadband and growth in satellite broadband technologies in particular. Hi, so my name's Philippa Biggs, and I've been with the Broadband Commission Secretariat for the last 15 years since its inception. We will be discussing this year's State of Broadband Report, which is the Commission's flagship report presenting a snapshot of progress in broadband. This year we had so many contributions that we divided it into 4 separate publications, and we had the State of Satellite Broadband looking at the growth of space-based broadband technologies in particular. As you may know, effectively we're in the second space race with a massive, strong growth in number of satellites, payload launches. It's really an exciting time to be working in the satellite industry. And today we're delighted to be joined by Ms. Donna Bethea-Murphy, who has been working with the Commission for a very long time, since very nearly the start. In her most recent role, she is Director of Global Regulatory and Technology Policy with Viasat, and she's going to be telling us a little bit more about what the Commission has meant to her and the reports over the years. So, Hi, Donna. Thank you so much for agreeing to speak with us today. We're very, very grateful. So, Donna, you are Senior Vice President of Global Regulatory and Technology Policy at Viasat, and you have been with the Commission certainly since very early on, as far as I recall, maybe even the full 15 years. So, thank you very much for giving us your views today.
Thank you for having me.
So I'd like to begin by asking you, what are the Broadband Commission's main achievements in your opinion?
Well, Pippa, there are so many achievements by the Broadband Commission, including being the birthplace of numerous critical telecommunications connectivity programs that were so impactful that they've become standalone projects. But if I'm thinking about the main achievements, I would say first and foremost, it's a platform for full and frank exchange of opinions and views, and it's done in a relatively informal setting. And second, it's advocacy with a global impact. Examples include putting gender digital divide on the map and raising the importance of having a national digital broadband plan and focusing policymakers' attention on affordability. And maybe third is the Broadband Commission facilitates building collaboration and synergies on public policies amongst leaders in industry, government, and civil society. And frankly, this promotes understanding among the different stakeholders because they all have different interests, motivations, and outlooks. And finally, I must mention the detailed deep dives we do on a wide range of topics that's often brought in by what's occurring in the world or what's brought in by the commissioners' different projects. And we're not just producing high-level phrases. It brings together this broad cross-section of experts who view the issues from many different directions, and we drill down into the details. One example that I was intimately involved with is the working group that dealt with technologies in space and the upper atmosphere. And the report that was produced and the recommendations that came from this report are still being referenced today.
So I'd just like to ask you a little bit more about what has the State of Broadband that report really represented for you over the years?
Well, the State of the Broadband Report represents a concrete, measurable set of targets and a regular update on the world progress in the 7 Broadband Commission targets regarding connectivity. And the report is also about advocacy and focusing the world's attention on different topical issues and their evolution over time. And the report also channels commissioners' insights. We have all these experts that sit to work together, and they provide insights on specific targets in their area of expertise and from their outlook. For example, my commissioner provided his expertise opinion regarding the importance of ensuring equity in space, making sure the space economy can be shared amongst developed and developing nations. Um, and previously, we talked about collaboration amongst different parties to bring medical assistance to isolated individuals during COVID. It's such a powerful and wide-ranging platform.
Thank you. Yes, that's really interesting. So perhaps focusing a little more closely on the State of Satellite Broadband Report, perhaps I can ask you what you liked in particular about the space-based report, what was good about it, and what could be improved.
It was truly exciting to see space communications as one of the main reports coming out of the Broadband Commission. It really just shows where we are on the technology compendium these days. The report does an amazing job of giving an overview of where the industry has been, where it's going, what it's achieved, and what the pitfalls are that we must be aware of and take care of so they don't become a burden. And we appreciate looking at being able to refer to and look at the market, the technology, the regulatory, and the regional perspectives and updates, and the different points of view that come in to make those sections. And then the one thing, maybe if I think about, what we could improve is how we explain issues around satellites, because rockets and satellites and space are very complicated ideas that we need to sort of make it easier for people to understand it, so that it gets the appropriate recognition.
That's a really important point that I think is sometimes overlooked. We as professionals are very happy talking in acronyms and acronym soup. But obviously, if we're trying to get our message out and reach as large an audience as possible and clarify public understanding about some of the issues involved, clearly we need to remember that we need to move away from the acronyms and talk simply. So, yeah, that's a great point. Thank you, Donna. As a space professional and reviewer involved in this report, perhaps I can ask you how you do manage to explain complicated science and engineering for more general audiences.
With great difficulty. When I first started in the industry and had to advise high-level government officials on satellite matters, we'd go into their office with a flashlight and string, or torches rather, and we would use the flashlights for satellite beams and the string showing the satellites talking to one another. Or you meet with the high-level officials and they're like, "That your 400-page technical report's great. Can you give me one paragraph that I can understand and explain it in 3 words?" And it's a constant journey because we get all excited about the words we know. In a report, it's harder to use these visuals. So instead, we look towards smaller words, metaphors, analogies. And, maybe when we discuss such things as orbital debris, people think of the movie Gravity with Sandra Bullock.
That's certainly true. And even Odyssey 2001 is still doing such publicity for space exploration to this day. I know my own daughters have watched it with great interest and enthusiasm about the space station where you transfer flights already in space. So perhaps we'll get there one day. I just wanted to ask, would you recommend space engineering as a career? And if so, why?
Well, absolutely, because space is cool, and it's always been cool. Seriously, starting out in any sort of STEM degree, and by this I'm thinking of electrical, mechanical, or aerospace engineering, It's a perfect way to jumpstart any career, even if you end up as a lawyer or in finance. But I believe that nothing is as special as space. Satellites make a huge difference to the world. They protect endangered animals by tracking them and warning of poachers. They allow airplanes to fly at optimal altitudes, dramatically reducing the carbon footprint. They provide connectivities to refugee camps. They facilitate digital billing in remote and dispersed areas. They detect and warn citizens of tsunamis. I can go on, but you get what makes me excited and what drives me to really participate in this world.
I can see that. No, it's clearly a job that can have real impact in the real world. And I just wonder, what would you say to young girls considering it as a career? Is it a career that you can balance with having some kind of personal life, family life, possibly even children?
Well, I do have children, but I will say that engineering, to get through engineering school is, it's a lot of work, but you get out of life what you put into life. So it's worth it. And I do think that you can find the balance, as you go on in life. But, I believe for any young person going into school or coming out of school, you have to put in the time and then you can find the balance.
Donna, thank you so much. That was really interesting. And you even took us into the realms not only of philosophy, but also your personal investment and how in our changing lives, changing era, we can manage and manage to get as much out as we put in. So thank you. That was a really interesting conversation, and I'll look forward to having another one with you again soon.
Thanks very much, Philippa, for having me. I think the Broadband Commission is a critical platform for everyone, and I appreciate the ability to share my views on STEM and life.
Thank you very much.